I want to thank the City Club and the Board of Governors for inviting me here today with this bipartisan panel of legislators to talk about the state budget. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank the members of the audience. I also want to thank my mom and dad for coming here today, and for Jackie Robinson Ivy for the opportunity. Thank you so much for your friendship. Let's be clear about something. The budget is a moral document. It reflects our values and our priorities in the state of Illinois. It also reflects the need to live within the means provided by taxpayers and to fund programs based on whether they're working or not. To fund programs based on whether we're protecting people who are the most vulnerable members of our society, but also to create opportunity for people within the state of Illinois, students who are seeking an education so they can have a world-class education and so they can be successful. The budget also presents us with an opportunity to right what's wrong, to fix what's been broken in the past. And one thing that's been broken is we have 40% of our budget, which is 700 of these special funds that have been created, which haven't been subjected to the same scrutiny as other areas of the state budget. Other areas of the state budget have been hemorrhaging. And meanwhile, these special funds have accrued a balance of billions, and that's wrong. So one of the things I was happy about was to partner with my colleagues from both sides of the aisle to vote for the budget fix last week. And the budget fix was very important because it provided $1.3 billion. And did you know there was surplus money of $1.3 billion to fund childcare, mental health, and to support people who are living with developmental disabilities? This is very important, and we did this all without raising taxes, all without borrowing money, and we did this in a bipartisan fashion. Which brings us to fiscal year 16. So while we've done this, and like I talked about before, addressing all of these special funds to make sure we address our current programs, what's going to happen in fiscal year 16? Now, something Governor Rauner did, which I agree with, is he followed the law that I authored and passed, which required the state to live within the means provided by taxpayers, only spend the money that we have. But what I disagree with the budget that he proposed is that he booked $2.2 billion of savings from pensions. Well, you can't do that in the current budget year. The law has to be passed, and the Supreme Court would have to rule it constitutional or not. So you just can't book it. And there are other three areas that I disagree with. Number one, to echo what my colleague had said, a $387 million cut to higher education is just untenable at this moment. We need to invest in higher education. What it's going to lead to, we have world-class educational institutions, and we have 3,800 startup businesses, technology businesses in Chicago. What's this going to lead to is fewer classes, fewer teachers, and increased tuition, which is going to lead to what? Fewer people getting access to the American dream. The second thing I disagree with is this: reduction in funding for local government. $653 million reduction, which is going to lead to what? Increased property taxes and decreased services and support for public safety. Decreased support for firemen, policemen, and emergency services. So I disagree with that. The third thing I disagree with, thank you. Third thing I disagree with is the cuts to human services. $1.5 billion cut to services for people living with developmental disabilities. That means misericordia, people who are suffering from addiction, and also people who are living with mental health difficulties. I disagree with that, but here's what's going to happen. More people are going to be homeless, more people are going to be in prison, more people are going to be in the emergency rooms. We're all going to pay for it on the back end, which is tragic. Now, Sister Rosemary, if you're listening, I'm not going to let that happen. The last point is this. Now, Governor Rauner did do something I agree with. He provided for an increase in education by several $100 million. I think that's important. He also provided for an increase in early childhood funding. I agree with that. That's very important. I also agree with the governor's desire to live within the means provided by taxpayers. But we can't fill a $4 billion hole by simply cutting our way out of it. We just can't do it. We can have a balance of the two. But a budget is a moral document, and we have a moral imperative to do both things: to live within the means provided by taxpayers, but to fund programs and essential services so people have an opportunity to lead a decent life, a quality of life. It's the opportunity to get the jobs that are out there and the education they deserve. And so people who are suffering the most, who are struggling the most, women, parents who are looking for childcare, are able to go to work and get childcare. And that's what's so important about us moving forward. We need to work together and work with the governor to achieve these goals, but to make sure we do this in a bipartisan fashion to get an equitable funding solution on the table.